Welcome to this brand new episode of Cast It to the King. I am your host, Joshua Mickle. It has been a long and impactful weekend and past week of sports, highlights, entertainment news, and life in general. And I'll just start off with some in-house keeping. I didn't do an episode last week because of a excruciating headache. And then also with the week coming up for prep for Zoe, being all in on that. A lot has happened last week, but we're going to get to that in the show here for this podcast. But for Zoe Conference in particular, I just want to say, right off the bat, it's probably. I haven't been much to these Zoe conferences actually. This is like my first one as a staff member, helping out and doing the usual production stuff. But in terms of the opening and creativity, and Andrew, if you're watching this, I don't know whose idea it was with the they had like colored wristbands. They had like electronic wristbands that the viewer would have on their wrist, and it would actually like go with the lighting flow of the service or the opener per se. So that was a pretty cool, nifty idea for their Friday opener. You can actually find that in my YouTube channel on the Life Church playlist if you want to rewatch Friday's opener by chance. Dancing with the Stars gimmick they did. Pastor Ben and Will Turner being their usual funny selves as the judges. And funny enough, after a particular thing happened, they just so happened the actual Dancing with the Stars actually came out and said, "Oh yes, we are going to make our original release date after all to air live on ABC or whatever station they're on." Say, "Oh yeah, we are going to make that after all. So don't worry, audience. We're still coming. We're not delaying anything. Don't worry." So for Zoe, great preaching from Pastor Chad and Carol, and then great worship as always. Yeah, you lead off with Kurt Franklin, like Pastor Chad says. You lead off with Kurt Franklin, you know something's right. You know something's right. Outside of that, it was not technically a sold out conference, but if you were there last year compared to this year, last year they did a 360 LED screen that they put up with lights, like think basketball arena kind of 360 screen. They did that in the middle of the auditorium, and they did a stage extension as well. So imagine a good chunk of those middle seats that were taken out last year, they were just put back in this year. So those seats, if they are not put back, like if there's another stage extension this year, then there probably would have been sold out in the auditorium. But I heard they did overflow in one of our rooms, which wasn't really necessary because we didn't need it. I mean, from what I heard. But outside of that, I think it was a great setup throughout the week, from creatives, from production, from everybody, from Pastor Leslie being like this is one of her babies, as Pastor John Siebling would tell us in church, and everyone their respective roles knocked it out of the park. And that's one of the things that I love about our church. Like, no matter what it is, like, we put our be all end all, like 110% effort into it, and we don't let up. We just don't let up, and we give it our all. And a good chunk of us dudes that were volunteering, or that did volunteer on this past few days for Zoe Conference, we love serving. I mean, like, they love to serve. So, ladies, you enjoyed yourselves and you deserve the conference for yourselves. Now, shameless plug, we need to bring back Man Night. Where is Man Night? I do not remember or recall having such thing this past year being on staff. I do not recall such a thing. It used to be a thing where it would be one Sunday. I want to say it was the opening. Yeah, it was. It used to be opening Sunday for the NFL. That Sunday night, they would do a man night back at the Cordova campus, now dubbed the Germantown Parkway campus. They used to do man nights, and you can actually find a photo online. My dad actually dressed up as Thor. So, yeah, take that what you will. But manliness. So it's, yeah, bring it back. Let's bring it back. I would love to have I would love to do man night. Like, that'd be a really cool thing for us to do. As far as I know, on the calendar docket, it's not coming yet this year. If they're going to slide in last second, that'd be cool. I don't think it's going to happen. So something to probably put a thumbtack to, like bookmark for that next year, hopefully. All right, so what you came here for, and that is the Titans. The Titans. Oh my God. This team is something to watch, both in a frustrating sense and also a pleasantly surprised sense. Like, this has always been a team besides the year 2015 and 2016. For the last decade plus, since 2006, for as far as back as I can remember being a football fan of the Titans, this team doesn't know if they want to be very bad, mediocre, or pretty awesome. This year is the equivalent of they suck really bad and they're world beaters on the other hand. How is that possible? I don't know. Because they had no business beating the Bengals this week. No business beating the Bengals this week. And yet they whooped them 27-3 today. And yet they whooped them. How is that? How is it that the Titans pulled this off? Let's start on the Bengals side. They are riddled with injuries. T. Higgins got injured, I think it was the first or second quarter. He was out for the rest of the game. Joe Burrow has been dealing with a calf injury since training camp. So he is limited. We as Titan fans criticize Ryan Tannehill for standing back there in the pocket like a statue. Joe Burrow was the ultimate statue to the game against the Titans. He was the ultimate statue. He would not move, and he couldn't run if he wanted to. And that was the one thing that burned us against Deshaun Watson, is that his legs bailed out Cleveland and extended some of their drives, which maybe could have ended some. Now, there are some calls on the field that during this Bengals game, it seemed to favor Tennessee more because there were some phantom calls and missed calls. Some phantom calls and missed calls that the referees made or missed. I think it was the first drive in the third quarter where it was third down, incomplete. So you think a 3 and out. There's a call for unnecessary roughness. You look everywhere on that particular play. The hit on the quarterback was clean. The hit from the defender to the receiver for him to not catch the ball was legal. So that one, we'll take it as a Titan. We'll take it as Titan fans. We'll take it any way we can get it to get a first down. But that was a penalty, and that was not a penalty at all, and the Bengals got screwed on that one. Another thing, that Chris Moore deep catch, which ended up being his only catch of the game, that's an incomplete pass. That is an incomplete pass. That was not a football move in real time. That's a grab, and then immediately it is shot out of his hands, falls out of bounds, incomplete, redo the down. They give that to us. And I ain't I'm not complaining. we'll take it any way we can. I'll take it any way I can get it as a Titan fan. I'll take it any way I can get it. That's an incomplete pass. That's just flat out incomplete pass. There's a penalty. There's a PI penalty on our defense early, like sometime in the first quarter, and then there is a particular play where Danico Autry was still going at it with this offensive lineman for the Bengals. So his hands are like up in the face mask, and then you see a moment where you see his right hand choking the dude. So I expect a fine for Danico Autry, or at worst a 1-game suspension for trying to do that to the Cincinnati Bengals. There's a difference between aggressive, because there are some fans that are laughing, like there are some Titan fans that will just take this as humor and say, "Oh yeah, we're just being aggressive. Like, yeah, let's literally choke him." And then there's moments where you cannot be that. Like, there's moments where you're aggressive, and then there's moments where you are stupid. That was a stupid move by Danico Autry. He was not caught on that. He will definitely get a fine from the NFL, I expect, and I won't be surprised when that drops. Folks will be surprised, but you got to look at the replay to know what that was. This was not a simple hands to the face. And no, it was not Myles Garrett slamming his helmet to Mason Rudolph of the Steelers. No, it's somewhere in the middle right there where Autry's hand is underneath the face mask and at the dude's throat. Literally, not figure, literally on his throat. The Bengals is an interesting story this year with them. For the Bengals, they shot themselves in the foot too much defensively for getting off the field. There are multiple opportunities where they could have gotten off the field. Didn't, could have, but didn't. And this just wasn't their day. I mean, this season hasn't been their day. This is the third game they have lost by the score of 27-3. And their last time they did that was week 1 versus the Browns, 27-3 in Cleveland. And so, with that being said, though, outside of the Bengals' flaws and whatnot, Derrick Henry proved today he is not washed, he is not old, he still has that burst and speed, and he still has this killer stiff arm. King freaking Henry. He is a monster. He is a man among boys. That dude, we will forever cherish the memory of him long after he's gone. It's gonna be a long, long time before a player like King Henry ever appears in the league again. It's gonna be another 5, 10, 20, 15 years probably before we see someone like him dominate the way he is with his size, speed, and athleticism. He did good. He did good running the ball. He did good passing the ball. The moment they tried out their Jeffrey Simmons to be the fullback was, I tell you what, for something that I have been not so happy or excited about the squad this year for the Titans, when they tried out Jeffrey Simmons, I couldn't help but put a smile on my face. I'm like, what is going on here? Is Jeffrey Simmons going to get a touchdown pass? Or is he just gonna have a big old bull rush of big dudes demolishing the little dudes in the Bengals? But no, it was your typical Henry pass play, over the middle to your receiver or tight end. This time it was Josh Whyle, who, by the way, leapfrog Wesco, who used to be our second tight end, leapfrogged him finally on the depth chart. So, good riddance to you, Wesco. I don't want to see your face again on the field. You can be our third tight end. You cannot be our second tight end. Thank the Lord Josh Whyle stepped up today when the ball was thrown his way. So thank the Lord for that. Down day for Chig. the other tight end. The only thing that he had was that vertical freaking jump. Awesome to see, but you didn't get the first down on a third down play. So, and you were well, not close to the first down marker. So that high jump for nothing. So fourth down, punt it away. That was. And then, for most of our offense, if not all of our offense, was based off of play action. And that's the thing that Derrick Henry did well. His running ability set up the play action. He is a great runner. That's why I give Derrick Henry a clean A-plus performance today. He did well on the ground. He added a touchdown pass on top of his touchdown run. And he was a great decoy. Great decoy for the defenders to bite on him on a play action play. Or plays in this game, where Tannehill, when there are certain moments he needed to thread in there, he threaded in there. And there's one particular throw, and y'all know what I'm talking about. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. But when he threw the ball and it got passed by the slimmest of centimeters of the football going past a defender's arm and another defender's arm to get to the receiver. By the slimmest of margins, I could have swore we saw the sighting of God. We saw the sighting of God guiding that football past the defender's arms, where normally 99%. There you go. Amazon Analytics that they show the football games now. That pass has a percentage probably in the high 98 percentile. Like high 98%, that ball gets knocked down by the defender. How that got through, I'm like, wow, God's here. God is looking out for this team right now. There's no other way to explain it. And Tannehill, for the most part of this game, though, first quarter, it was typical Tennessee first quarter. Kick a field goal. Yay. Kick a field goal. Offense. Oh, we can't even get our passes. He's overthrowing dudes again. Oh, my God. What are we doing here? Oh, my God. Tannehill, as a Titan fan that is forward-thinking, and I want us to succeed, but I've been kicked in the nuts so many times by this team. Tannehill, he's like today's game. Yes, he had a good game. He also had a good game against the Chargers. Both games, he has a horrible first quarter. But in the Chargers game, after that first quarter, he cleans it up. No mistakes, no nothing. Everything's all good here. This game, though, horrible first quarter. And some of his ill passes and inconsistencies came throughout the game. You botch a toss play? How do you botch a toss play to Tajay Spears? So you are lucky he bailed you out of that one when he carried that one for a 20-yarder. Very lucky you bailed him out on that. He bailed you out on that. You overthrew DeAndre Hopkins on what would have been a awesome touchdown over the top. You overthrew him. Again, another overthrown dude. Where have we seen this before? Cleveland last week and the Saints in week 1. Today, he misses another wide open. And by the way, only 2 guys have receiving touchdowns, and that's Nick Westbrook-Akine, who leads the league, who leads our team in touchdown catches apparently, and then Josh Wiley with the 1. The other few, Nick Westbrook-Akine has all to himself. He was wide open. He wanted to throw into double coverage to DeAndre Hopkins. I know you want to get him involved. You want to give him a touchdown. You want to give him his incentives. Go ahead. Give him incentives. Go ahead. But you missed Westbrook-Akine on that touchdown. You missed him. You just flat out missed him. And I don't know. And I think that resulted in us kicking a field goal. We are now. This is not a big deal because we won the game. I know. We won the game. It's not a big deal. But it has been over 630 days since we have scored over 30 points in a game. I don't know how long it's been since we scored 28 points a game. because we match our season high again from this year and last year with 27 points. I don't know how long it's been since we scored 28, but it's been over 630 plus days since we scored over 30. That is sad stat. It's ridiculous of a stat that exists, but it is a fact. And we hung 24 on them in the first half. And I thought, oh, we're going to get this no problem. No, 3 points the rest of the game. 3 points the rest of the game. And so that's the one thing that will get me thinking is if the Bengals weren't banged up, could they have rallied a comeback? Oh, by the way, Tannehill threw into double coverage again for an interception. What's that about? Yes, I know. Yet the defenders will come out and say, oh, it was third down, and him just throwing it up there as far as he did, it might as well have been a punt. So that's just like a punt interception he just did. So freaking what? We are now seeing this year and carrying over from last year. He has this bad tendencies when he's good Tannehill. His stats, yes, can rival that of Patrick Mahomes. I am not going to deny that. But bad Tannehill? Yeah, good Tannehill. You can go head to head with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen in the stat line when he's good. I get that. Bad Tannehill? No, you're not even close. You're talking about a huge drop off between good and bad Tannehill. And this year we are seeing a mixture of the two, which should confirm for most people that he's not going to be back this year. After this year, he's not coming back. No, he's not. Barring a Super Bowl win, he's not coming back. Barring a Super Bowl win, Ryan Tannehill's not coming back. Will Derrick Henry come back? That remains to be seen. I think you could probably keep him for another $10 million and do like 1-year deals or 2-year deals with incentives in it. There could be a way that you can do that. But man, this offense against the Bengals this week, they did this is Derrick Henry's best game against the Bengals. This is Mike Vrabel's first win against the Bengals. This is Tannehill's first win versus the Bengals since the Bengals head coach, Zach Taylor, was Ryan Tannehill's quarterback coach in Miami when he last beat the Bengals. That's how long it's been for these guys to finally beat Cincinnati. And I'll close out the Titans segment with this, is that we want to play Jekyll and Hyde all this season. I'd much rather us be one thing or the other, not in the middle. Because in the middle, we have good enough to get by, but not bad enough to tank or bad enough to get your next franchise quarterback or some studs of a star player. Because our last 3 first-round picks, if you want to count them, our last 3 first-round picks with Isaiah Wilson, 2021. Who was 21? Oh, man, I'm starting to forget my numbers. Who's 2021? Was that Caleb Farley? Caleb Farley? Yeah, Caleb Farley. Yeah, it was Isaiah Wilson. He's cut. Caleb Farley, he's still injured. 2022, Traylon Burks, he was injured. Peter Skoronski is dealing with an injury. Today we dealt with what is a horrible reality when your top draft picks cannot play or produce. One's already gone, and he didn't even last through training camp in Isaiah Wilson 2020. And Caleb Farley, deal with an injury. Horrible, tragic story of what happened to his father this offseason in the house explosion. And then Traylon Burks, it's looking like he's not, like, no one expected him to be A.J. Brown. But he's going to be one of those wide receivers that's going to give you more fits than hits. And the appendectomy that Peter Skoronski, our offensive lineman, is going through right now. There's no way to really dissect that per se. Like, it happened, so you can't predict that on the football field or in football practices. That's not at least I don't think so. That's not a football related injury per se. But next week we're going to get Nicholas Petit-Frere, our right tackle, back from for suspension early because the NFL has now adopted with the NFLPA new guidance for NFL gambling. And under this new guidance, the Lions wide receivers come back from suspension from gambling, and now our right tackle will be coming back from suspension. Will he play left tackle? I think after this game versus the Bengals, I think Vrabel's going to have more incentive to keep the line as is. Outside of Pierce Skoronski coming back, that'd be the only piece that he would probably change. Insert Pierce Skoronski back at left guard. Keep Andre Dillard at left tackle. Keep Aaron Brewer at center. Keep Daniel Brunskill at right guard. And then Hubbard over at right tackle. So after this game, I feel like Vrabel's going to have the incentive to restart this line again outside of Skoronski coming back. Nicholas Petit-Frere, I don't see the incentive of starting him. He was ranked 74 out of 81 offensive linemen last year. 74 out of 81. And I bet you 81 was Dennis Daly for us last year. Horrible freaking left tackle. So, and one more football thing. And Angie, this is for you if you're watching. Yes, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, from last week, though, you're lucky I didn't do a show last week because last week was pure comedy. It was pure comedy that the American audience needed. You lost to Arizona, who's tanking their season. Congratulations, you Dallas Cowboys. You lost to them. Sure, you beat New England, what's left of that empire. Congratulations, you just beat broken down what used to be a Star Wars Empire base, now left in shambles. You just beat the shambles. You beat the shambles of what used to be an Empire-led base before the Empire crumbled. So, congratulations on that Patriots win. You essentially beat the equivalent of the New York Yankees and Mets, which coincidentally happens to be the two New York teams, and the Giants and the Jets, your first two games. So, congratulations. You beat those two teams. Yay! You beat them handily, and you want to scream Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. And then you lay an egg against Arizona, of all teams, which was hilarious, which was very hilarious. And then you beat the crumbled empire that was the New England Patriots. Your true test is coming this Sunday in the 49ers. So that will determine. This is going to be the litmus test for the Dallas Cowboys. Can you beat Philadelphia? Can you beat San Francisco? Can you beat the Commanders, who looked really good against Philadelphia this week? Because them, with their offensive coordinator, I tell you what, I wouldn't be shocked if either this year or this offseason that Ron Rivera is given his pink slips by the new ownership and said, we want Eric Bieniemy to be our new head coach. We're going to elevate him from offensive coordinator and promote him to head coach. I would not be shocked if that happens in Washington right now. Because Ron Rivera, props to you. We salute you for not letting us go too far into the pits of Washington hell, I guess, and not being too terribly bad. But we're going to give it to this guy because he knows how to run our offense, and someone's going to poach him to be the next head coach of their team unless we make him the head coach of our team. So, Dallas, your test is coming up. If you win these games against these teams, then you can put some respect in your name. But if you lose these teams, it's going to expose for who you really are. An overhyped fraud of a team that you are. And we shouldn't be surprised because they're the Dallas Cowboys. They can go 0-17 They can go 1-16. They can go 2-15. Get the first overall pick in the NFL draft, and they will still, Cowboy fans and nation will still say, we're going to the Super Bowl this year. This is going to be this is our year. This is our year. You're not as annoying as Steeler fans, and you're not as annoying as Alabama fans. So that's the one thing I'll give you, Cowboy fans. And you had Tom Landry, who's a really good head coach, studying about NFL history. And learning what Tom Landry meant for the NFL and for the Dallas Cowboys. So, like Tom Landry, or like Roger Staubach. But yeah, you are who you are. So, next up, and this is a big one for in the world of entertainment. Recently, no, not recently, over 100 days ago. Over 3 months ago, the Writers Guild of America, essentially like writers for TV, film, short film, whatever, in Hollywood, the Writers Guild, like the Writers Union, labor union in Hollywood, went on strike over 3 months ago, over 100 days ago. And then recently, as July, the actors couldn't get a deal done. The actors go on strike as well. And then filming halted throughout all of Hollywood. And it led to some studios, I think Ron Link, delayed some of the films. We talked about it a few episodes ago. Dune 2 was rumored to be a possibility. That has now been pushed off to March next year, which sucks as a Dune fan of the first movie. The first movie with Dale... I forget the director's name. He did Blade Runner. He did a couple other movies I like. But for that movie to get delayed, it's so disappointing and it's frustrating as a film fan and as a fan of the first movie that came out with Dune Part 1. Kraven the Hunter for Sony got pushed back. I think that got pushed back not because of the strikes. I thought that's a cover of why they pushed it back. I think they pushed it back because they saw test screens or whatnot, and they're like, oh, shoot, this looks like it's going to be another Morbius for us. Let's delay this a little bit and see if we can quench the fires on this one. So that's going to be coming out exactly 1 year from now in September 2024. Blade, Marvel Studios' Blade was about to get another rewrite from a writer they hired on. And then 2 days later, the strike happens and production stops on that film. Deadpool 3 goes into production as planned, but because the writers were on strike, you cannot improvise of what is written in the script already. Because of the strike, they had to go off the script as is, no improvisation. No, let's shoot this in real quick. Like, this flows well if you write it like this on the set. You can't do that. The script is, like, essentially, during the strikes, it's essentially like the tabernacle. It is the 10 Commandments. You just follow it, no questions asked. But now, last week, they made a deal. The writers have made a deal with the AMPTP I forget the name. I should have just brought up the name. What is the name? AMTPT? AMPTP. Yes, the America Motion Pictures and Television Producers. Yeah, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The writers have come to the Guild of Writers of America, the WGA, has come to a deal with the AMPTP. Try saying that 3 times fast. Essentially the big studios involved being Walt Disney, Universal, Warner Brothers, Discovery, Amazon, Netflix. Go down the list. They're all there. Like the big head honcho, Paramount, they're all there. They're all there. And so they made a deal with him. Great. This deal involves the following, but it hasn't been exclusively reported in detail yet of what's in the deal. What's in the deal? Protections against AI. There is a little bit of a substance for residuals now, where essentially it's technically not a residual. It's actually like an added bonus that you get up front versus like you get paid this throughout the next several years or so. Like to that total amount. You can like the residual thing that I am aware of is that they want it was either you can, like, say you're a writer on a film and like a residual per se in this case is about $12,000. And they say, we can pay this out to you for the next 10, 20 years. Divide 20 years by $12,000. I don't know. I don't know the math off the top of my head. Or you can get $12,000 right now. Essentially a glorified bonus. So a lot of people are probably going to say, I'll take that $12,000 now. Why not? So protections against AI, new minimums for writer rooms, and there is now apprenticeships and like more emphasis on stewardships per se on bringing up new writers with these new incentives for being able to bring along new writers. So then when they get into the field a little bit more with current writers that they're with, they can get executive producer credit. They can get a writer. They can head up their own writing room of sorts in the future. Again, there's not much in terms of details per se about this deal. It's just a broad like understanding of what's in the new deal. The writers, they still have to ratify it, but they're so confident in the deal that they said last week, you can go back to work. You can go back to work. Like put down the signs, and we can go back to work. It's been 3+ months. We have to get back to work. And so, with that out of the way, though, with the writer's strike coming to an end, there's one strike left, and that's what matters right now. The actors. The Screen Actors Guild Association. SAG. SAG. They still need to make a deal with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the AMPTP. They still need to make a deal with them in order for us to get back to shooting Deadpool 3, promoting movies, although promoting movies really isn't much to do in terms of it's not going to impact you when you release a movie. So the actors are left now, and I believe that this writer's deal for 3 years is going to be a template for how they approach the deal with the actors now, especially with AI being a big thing. And one of the things that I am definitely not looking forward to, I mean, I'm not a gamer, but apparently, like there's some sort of actor strike against like the Gaming Association or something. The same like SAG that's about to hopefully they're supposed to be meeting sometime this week to discuss a deal hopefully with the movie studios. Apparently SAG is given the authorization to strike against like the big video game, like essentially the AMPTP of video games essentially. Why? I don't know. It's weird. Video games should be it should be like this with most jobs where, hey, you have a talent, here's your pay, you get what you negotiated, you do your job, off to the next gig. Because you are a hired hand as a employee, and you, unless you put some skin in the game, you do not have a say or right as to future profits that come from something that you may have put your heart and soul into. So, for instance, I'm hired at my, like, let's say, for example, like hypothetical here. I am given an assignment by my church to do a particular filming thing that's going to generate revenue for the church. And they give me, for this exclusive assignment, they give me X dollars. I say, okay. I do the job. I deliver it. I edit the film to the point they're impressed with it. Or maybe they want another edit of the thing. Okay, I go back for another edit. Okay, this product is done. There you go. My job's complete. What my employee, Life Church in this example, what they do with that video, if it generates revenue, I'm not going to get that revenue. Like, straight from that particular product. That's the whole breakdown with the residuals, is that it's gruesome. Like, unless you are Vin Diesel, Robert Downey Jr., or some of these top level actors out there and actresses, this is an over-glorified part-time job, essentially. But they're getting paid thousands and thousands and millions of dollars for these for the rest of the folks. So, I mean, that's the thing. You want to star in the next Frasier show, and that's upcoming for Paramount Plus, which I am looking forward to, by the way. Great trailers for that. So that's going to be, I'm hopefully going to do some reviews for that. Hopefully when that show starts coming out on Paramount Plus. I need to get Paramount Plus again for that. So you want to be, like, you're hired as an actor to be on the new Frasier show. Okay, cool. You do it. You're done. Once you're done, you shouldn't get another lick of money from that. Unless you do something what Robert Downey Jr. did with the first initial Iron Man movies and the first Avengers movie. He took a risk and said, I'll take less than what I am usually paid if I get a certain percentage of the box office, if it succeeds. So I will put skin in the game. Me being Robert Downey Jr. in this example, I'm going to put my own skin in the game. I'm betting on myself and saying, I will take less, and if we overperform, I get a cut of that money. That's how he made over $50 million off of the first Avengers movie. That's not based off of his salary. That's not based off of the movie budget of production. That's based off the box office of what he negotiated. So if you want to have that kind of incentive, negotiate that with your potential next employee or employer. Like, I don't know what's the term? With your next potential employer, you negotiate that in your deal. When I was getting brought on for my job last year, the church said, "Hey, here's the offer sheet. Here's your salary." I countered, and they accepted my counter. I'm satisfied with the deal that I made with my employer, with the employer that has hired me now, and why we're here today in Memphis, Tennessee. I get what I negotiated. The same thing needs to apply to every single aspect in life, and it mostly is. But some of these actors out there, some of these writers, some of these people in unions think they are entitled. And that is the problem with unions, is that they try to do broad rules for everybody when it should be a case-by-case basis. It should be a case-by-case standard. And if you think you're worth that much, go ahead and put your skin in the game, or prove to them that you're worth it. Prove it. And I may lose some friends over that who may be in the actors field, and I know a few that are. So I apologize if I just hurt your feelings. I'm not trying to dig on you and what you do for a living, or try to do for a living. Like, I'm not trying to get at that. I'm just saying, as someone that has worked in multiple jobs and had multiple, like, negotiations with, like, in terms of Here's my job description. Here's what you're getting paid. Do you set the terms? If not, what's your counter? And you go back and forth with that. That's just based off of my experience with the Writers Guild and whatnot. Like in terms of jobs in general. That's just my personal experience with that. And so, with that out of the way, let's get back to sports for a bit. And the big news that dropped. Damian Lillard got traded. He's headed to Milwaukee. He's headed to the Bucks. He got traded from Portland to Milwaukee in a 3-team deal, and it reads as such. Damian Lillard goes to the Bucks in a 3-team trade per Adrian Wojnarowski over at ESPN. Portland receives Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton from the Phoenix Suns, and then I have no idea who this is. Tamani Kamara. That's who the Portland Trailblazers received. The Suns receive Portland's center in Yusuf Nurkic, so he will be taking up now DeAndre Ayton's spot. Grayson Allen, who was over in Milwaukee, who had a short stint with the Grizzlies, actually, he will be part of this deal headed straight to Phoenix. Nazir Little, part of that deal. Keon Johnson is also part of the trade package that is also going to the Suns. And then, as well, draft compensation is being sent to the Portland Trailblazers. Some swaps as well. I tell you what, they said Giannis wasn't a part of this team talking the trade. You want to talk about a team that is committed to their superstar and committed to try bringing a championship? Milwaukee's trying to do that. They're trying to they're trying to woo over Giannis after rumors circulate that he wanted out of Milwaukee. He delivered a championship. He wanted out. He did his job. Now he wants to try to do it elsewhere. Now they bring in Damian Lillard, and you don't give up Brook Lopez. You don't give up Bobby Portis if he's still with the team, if I'm not mistaken. You don't give up Chris Middleton. That is the key thing. You don't give up Chris Middleton. If you gave up Chris Middleton, this would have been a sus trade, in my opinion. You keep Chris Middleton, and that's going to be a great third option with Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo over in Milwaukee. And right now, with what they're cooking up there in Milwaukee, I say they're the favorites to win the East, in my opinion. They have to be one of the favorites to win the East. And so now, going forward, the landscape of the East just gets more and more and more and more interesting. The landscape just gets more and more interesting. And so we are going to close out this show in style, and I want to try to get this ready. I should have gotten this ready earlier. I was ready for everything except for this part, apparently, because it just popped in my head. What's coming out this month? Yes, it's my birthday. My birthday is also this month. But one of the most intriguing things that's going to be coming out, I will definitely be doing Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation 5. The countdown is on. Insomniac did a fantastic job with the first game. They did a really great job with the spinoff in Miles Morales. This is now 5 years in the making of a sequel. And the storylines they seem to be hinting towards us, what they're doing with the symbiote, what they're doing with the lizard, Kraven, and others. And apparently there's going to be a side mission that connects this game to Across the Spider-Verse, the movie, which will be really, 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 really enticing. especially if you're a Miles Morales and Across the Spider-Verse movie fan. That's going to be really enticing indeed. Some of the gameplay that came out, really, really good as well. I mean, it was confirmed that the game time is going to be about the same as the first game. There's going to be some ad time if you want to try to get the game at 100%. I did that with the first game. I plan on getting 100% this game because the side missions. The side missions. It's great content. It's not something that you just blow over and say like, "Oh, I'll get that after the game. I'm done with it. I'll get it after I'm done with the game." No, you want like those side missions. Once, like, draw you, at least in the first game for me, it just drew me into like as like a natural progression of like to go along with the story. And for the first game, the side missions weren't necessarily like a must need sort of thing, like in terms of time placement in the game. Like it wouldn't affect if you did it later or earlier. But it flowed so well to when they popped up, you just did that. Like you just did that, and it was really cool. Really, really cool. I am looking forward to this game. Very, very much. And for those, and I'll just say this because I haven't said this on a podcast, but I will say it. I mean, so I can just get it out there. Again, I am a big Spider-Man fan. That was my superhero growing up. That was the hero growing up for me. With movies, the 90s show, and now in the Spider-Man 2 game that we got in 2004, the movie tie-in game. And we've had a few games with Activision that owned the rights originally. We had some good games. We had some bad ones. We had some bad games from Activision holding on to Spider-Man for far too long. Meanwhile, there goes Arkham with Rocksteady. There they go. Why can't we have anything nice over at Marvel? Why can't Spider-Man be like that? Why can't you, Activision, put the effort? I mean, we're seeing it with Call of Duty. Like, they just copy and paste everything. There's no creativity there. Same with EA with Madden. There's no creativity. They just go copy and paste. There's a new game. Bring in the sales, please. Thank you. Like, do minimum, like work at the minimum. Marvel got the rights back to the Spider-Man gaming rights. They got the IP back from Activision. And funny story, you can look this up, and this is a true story. It was confirmed. They won this game. They won Marvel's Spider-Man. What you know, it is on PlayStation 4 back in 2018. They won this game on Xbox as well. And Xbox execs, what do they say? They say, no, we got some original IP we want to try to mesh out with ourselves first. Like, we don't really want to spend our time with third-party IP that we don't own. Sorry. Have a nice day, Marvel. Then insert Sony and Activision. And Activision, I'm actually convinced because of Sunset Overdrive, their one Xbox game they did do with Xbox, with Microsoft, I am convinced that had Xbox not said no, Insomniac would have still been a developer. But you would get it on Xbox now. Spider-Man, when it first came out 5 years ago, was the reason I went back to PlayStation. I started out with the PlayStation 2, and Jack and Dexter were my games. Some of the old NCAA college football games were on it. I had a basketball one. I had Madden at the time. Then I go to San Diego. All my friends there are Xbox guys, and they were playing Halo Online, and that's how I got introduced to Master Chief in Halo, and I got an Xbox system for years. Moved to Memphis for my 4 years in college. I still have my Xbox, but Parker and them, they're like, oh, Xbox is lame. They're lame. PlayStation's where it's at, and they're playing 2K on the PlayStation. And then insert Spider-Man back in 2018. Marvel's Spider-Man from Insomniac and PlayStation. From Sony. What a great game. What a great game the first one was. Coming off the heels, we just had the Batman Arkham series wrapped up. And there are many, many comps going out there. Rightfully so. There are many comps out there that were saying, yeah, is this going to be like can this be Marvel's version of the Arkham series, which is a great series that Rocksteady did? A great trilogy plus a spinoff. The spinoff was not done by them. It was still in the Arkham universe. That spinoff was not done by them with Arkham Origins, but the trilogy done by them. Fantastic job. Fantastic job. Now then, could Spider-Man be the new Arkham for PlayStation and Marvel? It was. It is. The first one, on par with the first Batman Arkham game. If you want to talk about recency bias with Arkham Knight, the last and final Arkham game versus Marvel Spider-Man is pretty dead even, I would say. Probably lean more towards the Spider-Man game, in my opinion. Probably lean more towards that. And so now, as we go into Spider-Man 2, a lot of folks, like, just to draw comps, a lot of folks think that Batman Arkham City is the better and best Batman game out there. Can Marvel Spider-Man 2 be on that kind of a playing level? Can that happen? I think it's going to. Just based off what we know with our history. Insomniac respects the property. They know the characters. They know what flows. This is going to be original story by them, like it was the first game and the Miles Morales spinoff. This is going to be original by them, an original take on what we know. There's going to be some things we know, and then there's going to be a few surprises in there. There's no reason not to trust Insomniac, the developer of this game. There's no reason. I mean, the Ratchet and Clank games just keep chugging along like it's nothing. I wish Jack and Dexter would be like that for Naughty Dog. Sony, please, can we please get another Jack game if we're not going to get anything else? I honestly don't care if it's a reboot, like they did a quasi reboot with Ratchet and Clank. Do something like that, please, Naughty Dog. Please, Sony, someone that will give it the care and proper attention it needs. Please, that is my one thing. If Ratchet and Clank can have over 7+ games, why can't Jack and Dexter? They are essentially rivals in comparison of like, are you a Jack and Dexter guy or are you a Ratchet and Clank guy growing up? That's how it was on the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3, even when they were on PlayStation 3 and Jack and Dexter trilogy got remastered for that. It was always that. That's my rant for you right there. Yeah. Marvel Spider-Man 2. It's going to be game busters good. The gameplay, the demo, the info we know, what's coming up in this game, it looks appetizing, it looks intriguing, and I am excited for it. And again, one of the things, if this holds true for this game, it's just going to make me beat the drum harder for Activision and EA to drop the rights. I mean, not drop, only like to lose the rights. For Activision to lose the rights for Call of Duty and for EA to lose the rights for Madden NFL games. They keep copying and pasting over top of what's there with very little improvement. Give the IP to someone. Like, you don't need a shooter game every single year. Like, I honestly believe that the sales will be a whole lot more. I mean, in terms of longevity, a lot more if you had proper attention and care and dedication put into these Call of Duty games for a good year, 2-3 years. And then you get the game. With EA, it's just laziness. It's just laziness. 2K needs to get their hands on this thing again or give it to someone else that will give it the care and proper attention it needs, because we need a Madden game that is worthy of this generation. I played the demo for Madden 24. It is no different than Madden that I have from 3 years ago with Madden 20. Is it 21? I want to say it was 20 or 21. I want to say it was 20. It was 21. Madden 21 was the one with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes on it. Yeah. It looks no different than that game. This game is copy and paste. I don't like that. No one likes that. And EA was saying, leading up to the release of this new one, this is make or break for us. I hope you're right, because the NFL should just take the rights from you because you don't deserve them. All right. Looking forward to this game. This is going to be a fantastic game. I can't wait to play it, and I will do a breakdown of the story on this one, because this game is going to be really interesting. Ahsoka, just a heads up on what's coming up on a future show. I will be doing an Ahsoka recap of the show when it's complete. I will be doing recaps of the Frasier show coming up, and we will try to get back to the weekly schedule of doing Titans game recaps going forward. And so, to close out this segment, don't have a good, in the words of Ryan Reynolds, guy from Free Guy, don't have a good day. Have a great day. With that being said, my name's Joshua Mickle. Drive safe. Be safe out there. Be nice and kind. And as always, keep kicking it to the king.